In this video I'm going to show you how to set up and configure SmartAccess. What SmartAccess does is it allows us to create policies within Citrix Studio, and then we can filter through connections through the Netscaler gateway. So we can set the farm name, which is the gateway vServer, and also by session policy name. So you can then filter those policies to only connections through the Netscaler gateway. You can also set the same access conditions through the Netscaler gateway on delivery groups, so you can prevent access to certain apps and desktops within a delivery group based on the filter condition that you set up through SmartAccess. So I'm going to show you how to configure this. I'll go through some of the prereqs first, and then I'll show you basically how it works. So one of the first prereqs is the Netscaler gateway vServer. ICA only mode has to be turned off. It doesn't need to be ticked, which puts it in SmartAccess mode. So you can see there ICA only is unticked, so we're in SmartAccess mode. You also need universal licenses to use SmartAccess. Because I'm using Platinum Edition, with the newer versions of the Netscaler releases, you do get unlimited universal licenses with the Platinum Edition. So we don't need to purchase additional universal licenses. With the other editions, you do get a certain amount of universal licenses, so just check that before proceeding. The next thing we need to do is on our delivery controller we need to trust the XML requests. So I'm going to show you basically how to configure this. So if we go into PowerShell, we do get-broker site. You've got this setting here, trust request sent to the XML service port. That must be set to true for SmartAccess to work. So to set that, you would basically just do set broker site. So you would do set broker site, and then you would copy that value. And then you would basically set it to $true, which would enable it. So yeah, that's a requirement. The other requirement for SmartAccess is on the StoreFront. We need to make sure that on our Netscaler gateway appliance on StoreFront that we've configured a callback URL. So I'm going to show you where that's configured now. So if we do manage gateways, click on edit, and then under authentication settings we've got the callback URL. Most companies where I've set this up will have a dummy Netscaler gateway virtual server, because a lot of companies won't allow access from the StoreFront server to the DMZ. So what you typically do is you create a Netscaler gateway vServer, a dummy vServer. You bind the certificate, bind the STAs, and then you change the host file on the StoreFront server to point to that callback URL. That callback URL, the VIP, will be an IP from your internal range that your internal SNP is on. So StoreFront won't have to communicate directly with the DMZ to get to that callback URL. So that's typically what I do. As I say, that works really well. In this case, because it's a lab, I've got access directly from my internal StoreFront server to the DMZ. So yeah, I've got my callback URL there, which points to remote.carmo.com. If we have a look in my host file, this is on my StoreFront server, so I'll show you that. If we go file, open, all files, you can see there remote.carmo.com points to the DMZ VIP for my Netscaler gateway. So if we go onto here, it's virtual server, you can see it's 192.168.1.55, and then you could see there 192.168.1.55. So callback is configured, so that's the other requirement, and that's pretty much it from a requirements point of view. I'm going to show you what I've configured here, and then I'll give you an example of this working. So I've created a new policy. So if we open Citrix Studio, I've created a high security policy here. This has got all types of client drive redirection, clipboard redirection, turned off, USB redirection turned off. So this is high security, so you'll get no clipboard, no drives, no USB devices, everything's turned off. It doesn't allow any type of client drive redirection. Once I've created that policy, I've put an access control. So when you basically get to the filter section of the policy, I'm filtering this to access control, and you can see here allow with Netscaler gateway. The farm name, the Netscaler gateway farm name, this is the vServer name, and then the access condition is the actual session policy that's being hit. So what I've done on the Netscaler is I've created a new session policy. So these are my two default here, one's for receiver, the other's for receiver for web. I've created an additional one called SmartAccess_pol with a matching session profile. What this session policy will do is we'll use this in the name. So you can see there in the policy we're filtering by that session policy name. The session policy here, we're not going to bind it to our Netscaler Gateway vServer, we'll bind it to a AAA group. So I've created a AAA group called SmartAccess, and then bound to that I've got the session policy bound here. So you can see here SmartAccess_pol. I've gave it a priority of 10, so it takes precedence. This group here, SmartAccess, matches a group in AD that I've created. So I've created a group in AD, I'll show you that. Here it is here. If we go to members, what I'll do is I'll add my John C test account into this group. There we go, apply that, click on OK, and that's pretty much it. There is pretty much no other configuration required. As I say, we've got the AAA group here, we've got the new session policy bound. That session policy will be then used as on the filter. So literally when this user logs in, because he's a member of this AD group, he's going to then hit that session policy, this one here, which is going to apply, and then we'll then use that session policy in the SmartAccess access condition filters. So because this session policy has been hit, that policy will then apply to him, and then he'll get no type of drive redirection. So let's test this out now. So I'm going to go to my Netscaler gateway URL. So we'll go to remote.carmo.com. Okay, I'm just going to log in as that John C test user account. Click on log on. Redirect it to my IDP, which is Azure AD. I'm just going to pop my credentials in there. Just going to approve the MFA push notification. There we go. Now we pass back through to my StoreFront. We should get my apps and desktops enumerated. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to launch the 2016 desktop. So what should happen now is we shouldn't get any type of drive redirection, because, as I say, that session policy is being hit. That session policy is only linked to that AAA group, and because this user John C test is in that AD group, which matches the AAA group, this session policy should have been hit during the logon, and then basically we're then filtering that policy within Studio, which blocks all the drive redirection. So let's just test this. So if we go to Windows Explorer and then go into this PC, we get no type of drive redirection. You can see there my client drives haven't been redirected. If I try to copy and paste, so let's just open Notepad within the VDA, and then if we open Notepad from my host machine, if I then try and copy paste that into the session, I would expect it to fail because clipboard redirection should be blocked. Yeah, you can see that I can't copy and paste. So that's worked as expected. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'll try to do some additional videos. You can also incorporate EPA scans as well into SmartAccess, which work pretty well. I've also got a video for Smart Control. So Smart Control is slightly different. It's not controlled by policies and access condition filters within Studio. You actually control it directly through the Netscaler, so that might be an option for some people. If you go onto my YouTube channel, there is a video dedicated to Smart Control. Okay, thanks for watching. Thank you. Bye.